Okay, you should be receiving the message about the recording. So let me start by talking about the post-tenure review in general and why we do it. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you our collective bargaining agreement. The collective bargaining agreement um, talks about the purpose of the post-tenure review. So let me get that ready. Okay. So what I'm showing right now is section 15.35 of the collective bargaining agreement. And there's actually a few sections here that describe the periodic evaluation of tenured faculty unit employees, which is just the fancy jargon for post-tenure review. And according to your union contract made with the administration, the purpose of post-tenure review is to maintain and improve a tenured faculty unit employee's effectiveness. So that's really the sole purpose. And I'll show you in the policy, it's described a little bit differently, but it's basically the same point. And also in this paragraph, it describes what is involved in the post-tenure review. So where I have the cursor now, it says that the post-tenure reviews shall be conducted by a peer review committee or equivalent and the appropriate administrator. So appropriate administrator is just the contract language jargon for your dean. So this will be a peer review committee from your department and your dean who will provide evaluations. And an important part of this is that the last sentence here says that if you are doing instruction, then your post-tenure review shall also consider student evaluations of teaching. So that's why they're required in the policy, you'll see. I'm skipping ahead to the next two sections of this part of the contract. And basically, these just describe a very generic kind of overview of how the process shall work. But more of the specifics are in our campus policy. So let me switch over to the campus policy. And again, I'm just going through and giving you kind of a roadmap of where everything is. Get it ready. Okay, our campus policy for post-tenure review is contained in UPS 210020, which is called Periodic Evaluation of Tenured Faculty. And again, that's just borrowing language from the contract. That really means post-tenure review, what we call post-tenure review. And you'll see that the part of the purpose for campus is the same as the policy, the union contract, to encourage and maintain excellent performance in university assignments. But our policy adds a little bit more and says it's intended to be an occasion for consultation with colleagues, to encourage and maintain excellence, an acknowledgement of positive contributions made by you, the tenured faculty, and a time for you to reflect upon opportunities for growth and professional development. So that's what we're aspiring to achieve in the post-tenure review. According to our policy, I'm going to scroll down a little bit and take you to the second page, section J here that I have, the periodic evaluation file, which is what you will be putting together for the review, and just show you the required parts of the review for our campus. So for our campus specifically, you need to put in a current CV. And if you are from the library or from one of the campus counselors, it could be something that's tailored for your specific role. You're also required to put in your data from your SOQs if you have a teaching responsibility. So the SOQs include the quantitative component and also the comment reports. So, and remember, this is a 5-year review. So you're going back 5 years in those things. You'll be putting those into your file. And then the third part that's required for your post-tenure review is a summary. that outlines your significant achievements during that 5 years. In addition to the significant achievements, you'll be putting in your goals for the next 5 years. And these three things combined will be the basis of what your peer review committee and the dean will have to write a written report. It's a periodic evaluation, so it has the word evaluation in it. But as you probably know already, there are no real consequences in terms of promotion or advancement, change in kind of your work status at all based on the outcome of the review. It's really meant for your professional development. So think of it as feedback from the peer review committee and your dean. All right, so again, coming to our campus, when we put into effect post-tenure review, we do it according to a particular timetable that has already been approved by the faculty personnel committee last year and also by the provost. The timetables for all the reviews for faculty are available on our website, and I'm just going to show you how we access those timetables and what the specific timetable looks like for our particular type of review. So let me get that. Okay, I'm now showing you the part of the web page for Faculty Affairs and Records. And when you go to Faculty Affairs and Records, there's an evaluations drop-down menu in the upper left. That's part of where I'm going to show you some things, but there's also a section on the home page that takes you to this page, which is the timetables. And I've already selected the post-tenure review timetable for tenured faculty. So here's where you can see all the due dates. You can anticipate when the written evaluations will be completed and shared with you. And you can see a timetable, rough timetable for meetings if you do have a meeting with your dean and or post-tenure review committee. So let me scroll up so you can see it. It's not a complicated review process compared to what you might remember from the RTP reviews or for non-tenured faculty. All of your packets are going to be due on October 1. So that means the packet is just another word we use for all those required components of your file. So those will all be due in October 1 in our online system, Interfolio, which I'm going to come to in a bit and show you a little bit about that. By October 10, so 9 days later, your chair will have taken a look to see that you've included all of the required components of the post-tenure review. And as long as everything is there, the chair will forward the case on to your department peer review committee and to the dean, so they can begin their reviews of your material. If your chair notices that something's missing or incomplete, they can let you know, and then they can give you an opportunity to add the missing material to the file before the file goes forward for evaluation. So your chair will let you know. If you submit and the deadline passes and then you notice that there's something missing, then you're going to want to let your chair know right away so that the chair can open up the file for you and let you add the material. By December 3rd, the post-tenure review committee, so that's your peer review committee, they should have finished their written statement and they'll upload it to Interfolio and it'll be added to your case. Now we're into 2025, so it's kind of a long, slow process. And by April 7th of 2025, your dean will have finished their post-tenure review written statement and upload it to the file. And then the dean will share both of the written statements with you at that time. So you'll get a message on your email telling you that those statements are available. If you choose to have a meeting about the post-tenure review statements, then those meetings have to be finished by May 12th. of 2025. And then after the meeting, there's a rebuttal period that our campus allows. So that would allow you to add additional commentary or your own self-evaluation based on what the written statements say, and that would be added to your file. So that would become part of your permanent file. So on our website, we have the timetable in this format. There's also a link here where you can access the PDF version of the timetable, and you can download it and keep a copy for yourself. You can add these dates to your calendars if you want, so you can keep track of where things are going. And in most cases, in almost all the cases, everybody sticks to the timeline and we meet all the dates. If one of these timeline passes and somebody hasn't done their step or done their part, our office will try and get them back on track. But if you get worried, you can always contact us and we'll look into it and try and sort that out as well. So I know you're having a lot of questions, so I'm going to come to the questions in a little bit. Okay, so we're on the website, so let me go back and show you a few things. Under evaluations, where I've got in the upper left here, I can choose for faculty. And when we do that, we see all the different types of reviews that faculty might be engaged in this semester and this year. And the middle top here has post-tenure reviews. So if you want to go to see our information for post-tenure reviews, you click on that button. And there's a description of what the post-tenure review is at the top, not too different than what I've already explained to you. There's a link to the policy that I already showed you, so you can get that yourself. Take a look at it. It gives you the due date for the files, October 1, as I've already shared with you. And when we give due dates from Faculty Affairs and Records, those are by end of the business day. So by the close of the business day, so 5 p.m. is when we expect those files to be submitted. And then at the bottom, we have resources and documents. So on the left, we have what we call reference materials. Again, we have a link to the policy. We have the form that you would use to make a rebuttal. We have a link to a template, which you can use, but it's not a complicated file. So you may or may not need that. We have a link to the timetable. And then if you need a refresher on how to get to your SOQ data and so on, we have a link for that. On the right, we have a whole guide to how to be involved in the post-tenure review. We call it the Post-Tenure Review Candidate Guide. And I'm going to click on this. And it has a whole bunch of sections, which is what all these links are below. So let me click on that. And this is a guide that has all these parts, and it goes in order of you being involved in the evaluation process. So it has a little background information, tells you how to log into our evaluation system, tells you where to find your packet or your case in Interfolio, tells you how to add the documents to your case, tells you how to do some things you might want to do in there, some administration of your case, like change the order of your files, which a lot of people want to do. When you're all ready and your packet is completely set up, you have everything in there you want, everything's named the way you want it, everything's in the right order, then you can submit. And when you submit your file, then it will then now become available for your chair to check it to make sure everything's there. But once you submit it, you can't get access to it again unless your chair tells you there's something missing. So it's very important that you're absolutely 100%, maybe 110% confident that everything is there before you submit your packet for review. It talks about how to do the rebuttal period if you choose to participate in that. And then we have a link to another piece of software we have called Dossier, which is also part of Interfolio, which is like a document repository, which you may or may not want to use for this review or other types of reviews. So that's our online tutorial. I'm not going to go through all the steps because we have pretty detailed information in here as to how to go through all that. Okay, I'm almost done with my part, so let me finish it up, and then I know you're going to have questions, so then we'll go and do more of the workshop part of this. So let's say you've read all this stuff, you've looked at the policy, you're kind of familiar with what you need to do, you've started to assemble your documents, and you're ready to go into our online evaluation system, Interfolio, and to put together your file, to upload the documents and get your file ready for submission. So what does that look like? So let's take a look at that. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to show you what happens when we initiate a case in Interfolio for you. We build the case for you, and then what happens is you will get an email from us. And so I assume all of you have already received this email from us. And then the email will tell you that your case is available. So let's see here. I should be showing the email that I got from my hypothetical case. Let me show that to you. Here we go. This is the email from Interfolio. It's saying that Cal State Fullerton has initiated a case on your behalf. And there's a big blue button here that you would click on to go to the case. One thing to remember is that this link is only going to be available for or work for 30 days. So right now, I will be able to click on this button and go to my case in Interfolio. After 30 days, I can still go access the case in Interfolio, but the way that I will access it will be a little bit different, and I'll show you that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this button, and then I'm going to switch over and show you what it looks like in Interfolio. So it's loading, and then I will. If you're not already logged into Interfolio, it will ask you to log in using your campus credentials. So let me show you what it looks like now. And you just follow the steps and log in. Sorry, I'm having to switch between a lot of different screens. Okay, here we are. I'm now in our Interfolio system, and I'm going to do a little orientation, but when I clicked on that button, it took me directly to my case. So my home department is psychology, so we have a fake case for me here. Imagine I was getting reviewed of my post-tenure review in psychology. This is what it will look like, and it should look like this for you as well if you go into your case. It has the packet due date in the upper right, which I already told you, October 1. It tells me my department, that I'm under review, and then what it'll have is a series of sections below that. The sections map onto those required elements of your post-tenure review. So the first section is whether you think you're going to want to have a meeting to discuss your post-tenure review. The next section is where you're going to add your curriculum vitae, your CV. And then we have two sections on SOQs. So one section's on the quantitative reports from your SOQs for the 5-year period. And then the next section is on the comments from those sections you taught over the last 5 years. And then the last section in your Interfolio case is where you upload your narrative, highlighting your achievements and your goals for the next 5 years. So the way this works is you're going to just be editing this and adding material to these different sections until you're all ready to submit. So let me show you, for example. I'm going to go into my CV section, and I'm going to click Edit. And when I open this up, it shows a few things. It gives a description, which is the same description that's in our campus policy. So notice that there's some requirements. So it's not just going to be your standard CV. If you are someone who maintains your CV regularly, you're not going to want to just necessarily upload that CV. You're going to want to make a copy and edit that a bit, because the requirements are that it should definitely indicate activities completed during your 5-year evaluation period. So you want to make sure that's clear on your CV. And the second requirement is that the activities need to be listed in reverse chronological order. So from the most recent to the oldest. And I know probably some of you are already doing that, but if you're not doing that, you want to make sure that those activities are listed that way. And that's because your reviewers will expect to see them listed that way. It shows that there's one document required, which is my CV, and I've added nothing so far. So if I wanted to add it, I could click add. And most of you will be doing add new file, and you'll be able to just browse and upload your file. Let me see, can somebody give some people give me a thumbs up if they can see where it says drag and drop your files on my screen?
We can see it.
Oh, great. Thanks, Kathleen. Okay. So there are times when you may want to borrow documents from a prior review that you conducted in Interfolio, and you can do that. Instead of the tab for add new file, you can do choose existing, and it'll show a series of documents that you may have. For example, from a recent review, if you went up, well, wouldn't be that recent, but it could be 5 years ago that you might have gone up for full professor or got tenure. And if it was done in Interfolio, then you should be able to access different reviews. I've never been reviewed in Interfolio, so mine's not going to look exactly like yours, but you may have the option to choose from different review years and add some materials from those. So you could just bring over old documents. So all the sections pretty much work that way. And you will not be able to submit your file until you've got every section filled in. And then you'll be able to submit your file. You can see each section has a big submit button. And so you could submit each section individually as soon as you're done with it. You could wait until the end and submit all the sections. And there's also options to submit the whole portfolio at once, which are described in our tutorial. So there's just a couple other things I want to show you while we're looking here at Interfolio. So on the left, it shows the different tools in Interfolio. But on the right, it has my name, but hiding in here, if you pull down your name, is something that says Interfolio Dossier. And that is a tool that all of you have access to. It's not the same as what we're using for the post-tenure review. I click over to Dossier, and this is a system that the campus purchased for you from Interfolio, and this system will allow you to store documents for as long as you like across reviews. So, and it'll also contain copies of any documents you submitted to recent reviews in Interfolio. Now, as I said, I've never been reviewed in Interfolio here on this campus. I was at my former campus, but there's a section on the left called Materials, and you should have access to a whole set of documents that were you uploaded to prior reviews. And then there's a section called Shared with Me on the left. And if you had letters from prior reviewers shared with you in past years, those will appear here as well. So it's a way for you to access documents that came from your prior review cycles. I'm getting a server error, but normally it should show something here. So I've noticed Interfolio was a little slow today so far. So be patient with it. You might have to try again. Okay, so that's pretty much the whole process. From beginning to end, you're going to want to do that submission by 5 p.m. on October 1, and then the timetable will begin. And then it takes a long time because, as you know, your peer review committee members are also doing a lot of other evaluations of other types, as are your deans. So they've got a lot to do, a lot of faculty under review. So the post-tenure review cycles kind of spread out over time to accommodate that. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to